Bolt fam, things are serious in Los Angeles right now. There's a controversial decision in a key spot on offense, an expensive starter lighting a fire behind the scenes, a heavy shakeup in Justin Herbert's protection, and, on top of that, the playoff picture just got an unexpected boost that changed the mood in the locker room. Every detail hits directly at the future of this season. Stick with me until the end because every snap matters. You won't believe what we've got today. So get comfy, drop a like, and let's dive straight into the news. Starting on offense. There's a Harbaugh decision that has a lot of people scratching their heads, especially anyone who loves seeing this Chargers attack play physical, work off play action, and control the clock. In a divisional game against the Raiders, a matchup worth way more than just another win, he's once again choosing to sit an experienced piece from a group that is already far from loaded. And the key detail here is that it's not injury, it's not a physical limitation, it's a pure coaching choice. When the inactives list came out, fans started screenshotting it and sending it around in group chats. At first glance, nothing felt crazy at most positions, until the eyes dropped down to the tight end room. Will Dissly, healthy, once again out. Another week as a healthy scratch. The rest of the names were expected depth pieces, but it's Dissly who becomes the center of the conversation because he was brought in to be that reliable guy in heavy sets, short yardage, red zone situations, that extra body in the run game. So what does this choice really tell us? First, that the staff clearly trusts other combinations more right now. We're seeing more one tight end looks, more receivers on the field, more responsibility dumped on the starter at the position, and on running backs to help in pass protection. Second, if you're a veteran on this team and you're not giving Harbaugh exactly what he wants, nobody is safe. And that's where this hits the Bolt fam. Is this a modern aggressive vision for the offense, betting on speed and spread looks? Or is it stubbornness that could cost them in a physical game against a Raiders pass rush that loves to tee off? Picture a 3rd and 2 in the middle of the noise in Vegas, and the offense suddenly wishes it had that extra body on the edge to seal the corner. Whether this decision will look genius or disastrous after the game, the next piece of this puzzle on the offensive line makes the whole situation even more complicated. Every time a veteran is a healthy scratch week after week, the message echoes. Competition is real. Nobody has a guaranteed seat. Some guys use it as fuel, come back more focused, more physical. Others start feeling like the plan doesn't show them much trust and begin to question things inside the building. In a season where chemistry and identity matter so much, a decision like this weighs more than it seems if you just look at the transaction sheet. Mekhi Becton's situation, my friend, is one of those that make you take a deep breath before you talk about it. Because it is not just about underperforming. It's not only falling short of what he was supposed to be when he arrived as the most expensive signing of an offseason in which the Chargers had massive cap space. The hole is deeper and, honestly, more worrying. He spoke up. And when a player that big, with that history, and that investment behind him speaks, it echoes through the entire building. Before you even dive into his tape, the impact is already emotional. Becton unloaded in a strong interview with ESPN, questioning the way the team has handled his injuries, making it clear that he's not comfortable, that he doesn't understand some of the decisions about when he's on the field, and even hinting that in certain situations, if it were up to him, he'd be out there. When a player drops a line like, "If I'm allowed to play," that never goes unnoticed. That's ammo for the media, noise for the locker room, and direct pressure on Harbaugh. And we know one thing about Harbaugh. He does not tolerate public drama. He's strict, old school, and tries to keep everything in-house. With the level of play Becton has put on the field so far, grading out as one of the worst guards in football this year, there just isn't much room left for patience. The problem is, on the other side, there's no crystal clear solution. Jamari Salyer should be the ideal backup guard, but he's out there starting at left tackle because of the season-ending injuries to Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater. Bobby Hart would be the most logical name to rotate in, but nobody really knows if he's fully ready physically. Earlier in the year, people even looked at guys like Foster Sarell or Andre James as pure emergency options, But the team has already moved on from Sorrell, and there is very little confidence that any of these depth pieces can be trusted to protect Justin Herbert consistently. By airing everything out in public, Becton didn't just shake up his own job security, he backed the staff into a corner. If they bench him because of the interview, it turns into a disciplinary case. If they keep playing him while he's clearly unhappy, they risk poisoning the room. If they tweak the scheme to try and hide the problem, it affects everyone else on that unit. The cold, hard truth is that the Chargers already had a complicated puzzle to solve on the offensive line, and Becton just dropped another jagged piece in the middle of it. Meanwhile, the fan base's patience keeps shrinking. The question that naturally starts to rise is simple. Is 2025 going to end up being his one and only year in powder blue? Just when you think the offensive line has hit peak chaos, the situation finds a way to become even more symbolic. At its core, the choice to start Jamari Salyer at left tackle isn't just a technical tweak. It's practically a public confession that the big trade deadline swing, the gamble on Trevor Penning, has not delivered what the front office hoped. You can't talk about this without retracing the timeline. The Chargers lost Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, the two pillars of the line, to season-ending injuries. From that moment on, it turned into a patchwork project up front. Penning arrived as a reasonable gamble, a low-cost trade for a former first-round pick with upside and the physical tools to at least stabilize one side. But he barely had time to win anyone over. In his first real start, he struggled badly, and by the second half of that crucial game against Jacksonville, he was already on the bench. When a team has to turn to a guy who was basically buried on the depth chart, it means every other door slammed shut. It exposes how badly the front office misjudged its depth. The entire line is patched together. Inside, the starting trio isn't delivering. Outside, nobody can stay solid for long. In the end, Salyer isn't the ideal solution. He's the least risky one left. The Bolt fam feels that. Everyone understands that when you shuffle the protection that much, the offense loses rhythm. The coordinator gets boxed in, and the play calling becomes more conservative. That hits the confidence, the creativity, and, most of all, Herbert, who's already had to play magician way more often than he should. The big question is what this says about the immediate future. If Penning has already been passed up by Salyer, a guy who was practically an afterthought until yesterday, what's the real plan going forward? How do you rebuild a unit that has turned into a patchwork quilt? And what does it say about the front office's ability to evaluate talent in the trenches? While those answers don't come, the season doesn't slow down for anyone. Which is why the next twist in this story adds even more urgency to the entire atmosphere around this team. For Chargers fans, this mini bye week, that painful wait after the disaster against Jacksonville, ended with the kind of plot twist nobody expected but everybody needed. While the team was trying to breathe, reorganize the offensive line, and get emotionally ready for a must-win battle against the Raiders, a little help came from Texas. The Kansas City Chiefs stumbled, and they didn't just slip, they went down in a way that changes the math and the mood inside the Chargers building. That 31-28 loss to the Dallas Cowboys wasn't just another final score on the ticker. It opened up a small but crucial crack in the playoff picture. According to the Athletics playoff odds simulator, the Chargers, who would have been sitting at around a 57% chance to make the postseason if the Chiefs had won, are now up to 62%. It might look like a minor bump on paper, but in a season this crowded and chaotic, every single percentage point becomes ammo. That energy hits SoFi Stadium immediately. Everyone in the building knows this final stretch is going to be a climb straight up a cliff. Raiders, Eagles, Cowboys, Texans, Broncos. There is no easy game. The offensive line is banged up. The offense is limited. The defense doesn't have the luxury of an off day. And yet, even with all that, the odds just got better. A door that was cracked open is now a little wider thanks to a rival tripping over its own feet. This is not an excuse to get comfortable. If anything, it turns up the pressure. Everyone knows that beating the Raiders this Sunday would jump those odds to about 67%. That would put the Chargers close to full control of their own destiny, even with half their offensive line in the training room. The Bolt fam feels that shift. The mood changes. Fans start to believe just a little more. It feels like the football gods handed this team a second chance. But second chances don't stick around forever. That's why the atmosphere around this Raiders game is even more explosive now. At this point, it's all or nothing. Putting all of this together, Bolt fam, the feeling is crystal clear. The Chargers' fate is being written on a razor's edge. Between Harbaugh's bold calls, Becton's explosive comments, emergency moves on the offensive line, and an unexpected boost in the playoff race, every step from here on out carries the weight of a playoff game. The only real question is whether this team is going to turn chaos into fuel or let this chance slip away. Jump into the comments and tell me what you believe for this final stretch. And if you enjoyed the video, smash that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications, and stick with us because we're riding this thing out together till the very end.